Alright, what is going on, guys? My name is Leon Master. Welcome back to another Overwatch League news video. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about the Dallas Fuel. Paintbrush had a Twitch stream recently, and I will say before we go into this, I did watch this Twitch stream, so majority of the stuff is true from last time I remember watching this. So, basically, this video is all about what Paintbrush was talking about on stream. There was a lot. Good thing, my boy here, he has a very long name on Reddit. He made a list about it. If you saw it on Reddit, you're most likely know what I'm going to talk about, but if you guys don't look at Reddit, I'm basically going to go over it with you guys. And he kind of put it in some good sections as well. Paintbrush basically talks about almost every player, how Dallas is doing overall, and it's basically actually the first thing we're going to talk about is Dallas overall. So basically the first point is team culture was not messed up before Paintbrush joined, which I thought was pretty obvious. You know, when as soon as like the games got canceled and everything went online, we can already tell things are going wrong, and I feel like if things were still the same before, you know, everything happened, I feel like Dallas probably would have been still in a decent spot. So that is true. Paintbrush did say this. I'm just going down the list this guy has it written down as, so keep that in mind. If you guys want to read it pretty fast, I will leave it in the description below. Second one is, as of right now, only him and Crimzo are scrimming right now, so that is kind of weird to hear, honestly. You know, you've been having a long time playing competitively. Scrimming right now is pretty weird, I feel like, to do, but if they want to keep working, go for it. I just feel like it's strange to do that, but if they want to do it, go for it. And the obvious one, major changes are coming. We say that every year, but I really hope they actually do it this year because Hastro said major changes were going to happen this season, and I guess in some way, yes, but not the place everyone wanted changes. We got great changes on the roster, but we didn't get great changes on the coaching staff. It was still the same. Even Arrow was surprised he was still there. I don't know if that was clipped or not, but Arrow said he was shocked that he was still on Dallas Fuel in Season 3. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more. And Paintbrush had his own opinion out there that he prefers a team house over a facility, which I can understand that one. He did work with the LA Gladiators. It was a team house sort of thing, so that's 100% understandable. And before the Vancouver match, everyone had issues with people, and some people didn't like Arrow after that game. They talked about all of this, and Arrow got much better. So that's interesting. Then we go on to Young. Young does not want to be head coach and expressed this to Hastro. I thought this was pretty obvious. I never wanted Young to be a head coach. I wanted him to be an assistant coach, as we have seen so far from him being as a interim head coach these last couple of games. Whenever you mess up, Young does not get mad or yell. However, he gets very disappointed, as I feel like coaches should, and they'll work on all that. So now we have a Paintbrush section, and it says this. Initially, he was actually going to be traded to Vancouver, which is true. That was actually a clip all over the place. I was there when he said that too, which kind of makes sense, kind of. I feel like that was probably the worst spot to actually upgrade on Vancouver if that trade did go through, because that was when, obviously, the whole new second win roster came in of Karkar, Rolf, and all that. Karkar wasn't on second win, but you know what I'm saying. So Paintbrush to Vancouver would have been interesting. I feel like that would have hurt his career a little bit more, so a good thing he went to Dallas, I guess. But I definitely think out of everything Vancouver needed to upgrade, probably not a main sport, definitely at least the off sport, but who knows, maybe that's what they were going to do and put Paintbrush on off sport. That would have been weird. And this next one's pretty huge, actually. He says that whenever he tries to set up scrims or talk to people in the Fuel Discord, no one responds. So that's crazy. I would never expect the team to do this, and hopefully those changes will come through. And he's probably exaggerating it a little bit, like maybe one or two people reply, but like not everyone who he expects to reply, like the whole team. So we'll see how this goes in the future as well. This one's pretty interesting. Then on to this next couple stuff. It's pretty small, and it says Crimzo has a section. Paintbrush hopes he is re-signed to the team. He also grinds a lot, so I do hope Crimzo's also re-signed as well. He was very good for the Dallas Fuel. He was one of the brighter spots on the team, one of the brighter spots in all the Overwatch League in general, one of the better off-sports in the league. I don't know if I would say he's top 10, but he's definitely close to it right now. He's definitely a underrated off-sport right now. Then he talks about Note. He hopes he gets re-signed as well. Very close with Gamsu. Pretty obvious stuff here. Onigod hopes he gets re-signed. And he says Gamsu. Not too many comments here. However, it noted that Gamsu speaks very good English. So he didn't say anything about re-signed. And then we go on to Doha. Speaks good English, which we kind of heard the opposite from Arrow. There's a culture gap, which is kind of obvious as we've heard from everything from Dallas Fuel, and he thinks he's a good player, but it was sad they couldn't play Widow Tracer. Obviously, Doa has a hard time playing hit scans, and that's the whole reason they signed Onigod, I felt like. So they would have done Decay Onigod. We'll talk about this more. He talks about some players that really don't play anyone, like AKM, Trill, Unco. Talks about Closer. Never played or talked to him, which is strange. The only DM'd him, thought he seemed nice, spoke good English. When I read some of this stuff, I just question what's going on in the Dallas Fuel. Like, we've heard this from even Season 2. Arrow does a thing where he scrims for the first couple of games or scrims in general before the season starts, and he just sticks with that 6. I don't understand why Arrow does that. I feel like when he does that, he cuts everyone off, and maybe that's why all these players that we used to love no longer play anymore. Trill doesn't like Overwatch anymore, but he loves still doing stuff with the team. AKM, nowhere to be found. He's doing parties last time I checked, but obviously probably before COVID happened. Unko is getting back on that Overwatch grind, but he was all on Valorant this entire season. And Closer, he was still on the team. He still grinds Overwatch. And Paintbrush never talked to Closer is blowing my mind. I don't know if that's a Paintbrush thing. I don't know if that's a Closer thing. That's probably an Arrow thing, because what we have heard so many times, especially from Season 2, Arrow sticks with a starting 6, and that's it. He doesn't change a thing. That's what they scrimmed with, and that's it. They never want to change a thing, and I just hope the next coach that comes in, almost every coach, I think, in the Overwatch League, at least middle to high teams, almost scrim every single one of their players, even if it's a bench player. I have almost seen that from every coach so far, but I could be wrong. But I still feel like you need to at least require all your players to show the scrims, unless something has happened. So that's the strange thing. Maybe Closer was required to go to scrims, but they just couldn't talk to Paintbrush or whoever their starting 6 was. But there's a lot of things here that is honestly good and bad. But Paintbrush, I think it was alright for him to talk about this. He did say a lot of good things, not that many bad things. Like I said, I will put this in the description below. I just wanted to talk over this for you guys and get some of your thoughts on it. He hopes a lot of these players get re-signed. I don't think it's going to happen though. I think honestly, we have seen Paintbrush is going to be re-signed. That's 100% confirmed at this point. He's like decked out in Envy clothing. He's going to the facilities all the time. He's for sure staying on Dallas. I don't know about Note. I don't know about Onigod. I hope Crimzo is, but we'll see. All I know for sure is Paintbrush is 100% playing for the Fuel next season. It's going to be strange, and hopefully these major changes, I hope after Hastro, after they won the CDL, he sees that he wants to do that with Overwatch League so that he gets back-to-backs. I hope that happens. He looks at top coaches in contenders, or maybe he'll have enough money to get one in Overwatch League, which I feel like is very hard to do right now because contracts are a thing. But I hope when he says major changes, we said this last year too, we really hope he means major changes. Massive players that we wouldn't expect, and also Season 2, all these Season 2 players, all their contracts are going to be up next season. So we could be seeing some massive changes as well with maybe New York players, maybe Atlanta players, all these players that were re-signed for those Season 2s and all that, and they'll maybe get released this year. So we'll see where that goes later this year, actually, near the end of October, if I'm correct, with the update, roster signings, all that's going to happen. I think like 3 days after Grand Finals, there's already going to be moves happening with trades. I did scroll down a little bit more just to make sure if anything was new, and yes, Paintbrush did reply to this, and the only thing he really said that I read that was kind of new out of this. So he said there was actually never a culture gap with Doha in the roster. But we've heard numerous things that there is a culture gap, but there isn't. A lot of players have said there isn't, so I say we trust the player side. We've seen this from Crimzo, I think, in Note, and now Paintbrush has said there's no culture gap, so I'll believe them at this point. And he does say, I hope Gamsu, Note, Doha, Oni, Crimzo all get re-signed. If not here, I'm confident they'll find another spot. That's another thing with my point saying I think Paintbrush is 100% re-signed. Hopefully Crimzo is, and we'll see where this goes down the road. Personally, if I'm going to be honest, I hope we find a better main tank for the Dallas Fuel. I think Gamsu honestly was kind of underwhelming this season. But if Gamsu and Note is going to be the duo, I wouldn't mind it because we've seen Note really pop off of Gamsu side to side. But we'll see where this goes. Onigod, I think Onigod's great and all, but I think you can definitely find an upgrade in the Overwatch League or even in contenders because there's a lot of crazy players out there. In Doha, I hope Dallas keeps Doha. But we'll see. Maybe Dallas will make a trade with Doha so they get a top tier, who knows, main support, main tank. We'll see where that goes. There's a lot of teams that would probably love to have Doha right now. Anyways, guys, that's going to be for me. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to join my Discord down below. Don't forget to join my Twitter and my Twitch. And don't forget to hit that bell. And don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe down below. And I'll see you guys on the next one.